This Alexander Isak transfer is absolutely wild. I have no idea which way it's going to go. So, as we all know, Alexander Isak is not training with Newcastle. He's been requested to return to Newcastle's training ground tomorrow as they come back from their tour on pre-season. Liverpool, 24 hours ago, submitted a bid to get him into Anfield. It was rejected swiftly by Newcastle, and now they are not budging. They do not want to sell Alexander Isak. Then it comes out Benjamin Sesko has chosen Newcastle over Man United and that they have now put in a bid of around £75 million. What is going on? What is going on? This is absolutely crazy. I think this is going to go 1, 2, or 3 ways. But let me know in the comments what you think of this whole transfer saga. Will it be resolved quickly or will it take a little bit longer for Liverpool to get this deal done? Absolutely mental right now. So, in terms of the situation right now, Alexander Isak has said he only wants Liverpool. So we all know that that is the club that he wants to go to. And Liverpool just need to obviously come up with the funds and Newcastle need to accept. As things stand, Liverpool put in a bid of around £110 million. There was a few figures coming out. £120 million was the figure being reported by Fabrizio, but then it'll come out that it'd been a little bit lower. So let's say 110 million. Liverpool trying to rob Alexander Isak for 110 million. Newcastle do not want to do business for anything less than 150 million. It needs to be a British transfer record or Premier League record. And I think that's the only way this deal gets done. Now, Liverpool have said that they are walking away. They are not putting in another bid. But the fact that Benjamin Sesko is now potentially making that move to Newcastle, I think that this deal moves along pretty quickly. In terms of like how it's unfolded, I think it's been pretty strange. Like you think of it, like the bid was put in yesterday. Liverpool were announcing their kit sponsorship. Like there was a lot of talk around this whole transfer, and I'm struggling to come to terms with how. I don't know. I think fans are getting a little bit riled up. Newcastle fans, especially, with the way Isak has been kind of carrying this situation along. He's had to been training in Real Sociedad. He doesn't want to come back to Newcastle. He doesn't want to play for Newcastle anymore. They've offered him a contract. He said no to the contract, and he wants to move to Liverpool. That's all that he wants. And the fact that Liverpool have obviously they've brought in Ekitike, they know that they want Alexander Isak. They feel like he's available. They feel like someone that can fit into the club, and I think that absolutely can. You look at the firepower with Mohamed Salah, Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, Gakpo, McAllister. There's going to be so much options from there, and he could even take his game to the next level. So the fact that he said he wants to leave, and the fact that Liverpool have the money, all it's going to come down to is Newcastle saying yeah. And I think if Sesko does come in the near future, I think this deal is going to move pretty quickly. I'd say probably around 135 million is going to get this deal done. And I think that's what likely happens. The other side of that is, say Sesko has a change of heart, because there's 2 options on the table for him right now. There's Man United and Newcastle. Now he's leaning towards Newcastle. Newcastle is what's being reported. But if Man United are able to stump up the money and offer him maybe a bigger contract and say, listen, this is what we want, this is our project, he could change his mind and go to Man United. And I think that throws a spanner in the works for Liverpool and Newcastle. If that does happen, I think the only way this deal happens is if Sesko or someone of a similar caliber moves to Newcastle. They're not going to want to let him go for on the cheap, and 2, if they don't have a replacement. It just doesn't make sense for Newcastle. But Liverpool are paying hardball. And there were reports saying that Newcastle were not happy with how Liverpool have conducted themselves in this negotiation. There were some reports saying that Isak's camp have been leaking information about the bids and what was going on. And the fact that Liverpool have put in a low ball offer in Newcastle's eyes, and now they're not coming back to put in another bid, I think that's unsettling Isak more. And the next step might be that Isak has to submit a transfer request, because, as I said, Newcastle are not going to do business unless they get a replacement for Isak. That's the only way to do business. The third option that I think might happen here, and this is a wild one, and I don't think it will happen, is say someone else comes in and puts up the money that Liverpool aren't willing to offer. Will that put into a bidding war? Will Arsenal make a late bid? I don't think so. But that's probably the only other option that you could see happening if Liverpool didn't want to put up the money for Alexander Isak and he still wanted to move away from Newcastle. But as we've seen, and what we're hearing is that Liverpool is the only choice that he wants to make. This saga could rumble on a little bit. Now, if the Sesko deal moves very quickly and they get that deal done, then we could see this move be the domino. That could be the domino that obviously pushes Liverpool to go out and spend the money and bring in Alexander Isak for a record transfer. But let me know what you think in the comments. How quickly do you think this deal will get done? Liverpool making some massive, massive moves this summer. And if Alexander Isak comes into that fold, honestly, the Premier League, the Champions League, everyone is in trouble because this team looks like it's going to be a Galacticos team. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I shall chat to you all on the next one. Cheers, guys.